My wife cheated, filed for divorce, demanded lifetime alimony, and the judge was ready to grant it. Then my lawyer played a video of her bragging she'd never work a day in her life. The judge's response? Unforgettable. Hello, Reddit I+ here. I am a 38-year-old guy named Harold, and until a year ago I thought I was married to the most charming, gentle woman in the world. Her name was Muriel, a 35-year-old who could walk into any room and instantly win everyone over. She was warm, soft-spoken, and the type who made strangers believe she spent her weekends rescuing kittens from trees. Turns out, she spent her weekends doing something entirely different. I found out she was cheating after her tablet synced to our shared cloud account, and I got a notification. One curious tap later, I watched a full thread of messages where she told some guy named Tobias that she was so tired of pretending to care about our marriage. She wrote that their plan was almost set, that she would file for divorce soon, and that she would be taking a generous chunk of Harold's wallet with her. I sat on the floor for a long time, staring at the screen. It is strange how fast a life can collapse. 1 second you are planning next month's home repairs, the next you are realizing the person you sleep beside has been building an escape tunnel behind your back. She filed for divorce 2 weeks later, not a word of remorse, nothing. Then came the real hit. She demanded permanent alimony, not temporary, not transitional, permanent. Her reasoning was that she was far too stressed, fragile, and emotionally wounded to hold any kind of job. She cried in the paperwork. She cried in mediation. She cried in the hallway before our first hearing. She told everyone that life had crushed her spirit, that she was barely able to function, and that working would send her into a spiral. Her lawyer kept referring to her as a delicate individual whose mental health prevents her from sustaining employment. Meanwhile, she had survived 12-hour shopping days with more stamina than a marathon runner. I refused. I wasn't paying lifetime support so she could sip cocktails by the pool with her side guy. But the judge, he was buying it. Every shake of her hands, every quiver of her lip, every deep, shaky breath she performed like a Broadway actress, he absorbed as truth. My lawyer, Kenton, kept a straight face, but I could see the tension in his jaw. We were losing, badly. On the second hearing, the judge leaned back and said the words I had been dreading. It appears the petitioner's health concerns do significantly impact her ability to work. I am leaning toward granting long-term support. I swear time stopped. My ears rang. It felt like watching someone slowly turn the key in a lock that would trap me for the rest of my life. Then Kenton calmly slid his notepad aside and said, "Your Honor, may I address one final matter before any ruling is made?" The judge nodded. "Go ahead." This is where the tide shifted. Kenton looked at me. That was the signal we had discussed the night before. I sat up, tightened my posture, and folded my hands in front of me. He walked to the clerk and handed over a small silver USB drive. "Your Honor," he said in a steady voice, "the defense has one last piece of evidence. It directly relates to the petitioner's claims regarding her inability to work." Muriel's face shifted so fast it was like watching a mask slip. Her eyes widened, her shoulders stiffened, and her lips parted just a fraction. She whispered to her attorney, "What is that? What is he doing? What is this about?" Her attorney frowned and muttered, "I am not sure." The judge nodded at the clerk. "Load it." The courtroom lights dimmed slightly as the screen on the wall flickered to life. Every heartbeat I felt in the tips of my fingers. Then the video started. There she was. Muriel, 3 weeks earlier, at a friend's rooftop gathering, wearing a bright sundress, holding a glass of red wine, surrounded by 3 other women and laughing like the world was made of cotton candy. She wasn't fragile. She wasn't trembling. She wasn't pale, quiet, or broken. She was vibrant, loud, energetic, and very, very smug. In the video, one of the women said something like, "You look amazing. Divorce treating you well?" Muriel laughed and replied, "Why wouldn't it? I am never working again. Harold makes plenty. After this whole thing wraps up, I am set." Another woman, equally grinning, lifted her drink and said, "Must be nice." And Muriel responded with a smirk that I recognized too well. "You just have to marry someone who doesn't realize what you are doing." The room in the courthouse went silent. Completely still. You could hear the hum of the fluorescent lights. Muriel's face drained of color. Her attorney slowly closed her eyes like she was mentally counting to 10 to avoid screaming. The judge leaned forward and stared directly at Muriel with a look I can only describe as pure disappointment mixed with disgust. Then he asked in a low, icy voice, "Miss Delacourt, you have testified that you are unable to work due to overwhelming anxiety, correct?" She swallowed. "Yes." "And you insist you have no income whatsoever?" "Yes." "And that you are entirely reliant on long-term support?" "Yes." The judge held up a printed still frame from the video. It showed her mid-laugh, mid-brag, wine glass raised like a toast to manipulation. He set the page down, folded his hands, and said, "I do not tolerate deceit in my courtroom." Everything changed after that. The moment the judge said he did not tolerate deceit, the temperature in the courtroom dropped. Even the court reporter looked up from her keyboard, sensing something big was coming. Muriel sat frozen in her chair. Her confident posture collapsed into itself, shoulders sinking, fingers trembling as she clutched a tissue she suddenly could not seem to use. Her lawyer rubbed her forehead like she was silently apologizing to the universe for ever taking this case. The judge turned to Kenton. "This is verified footage?" Kenton nodded. "Yes, Your Honor. Metadata confirms the date, and witnesses present at the gathering have already submitted written statements. The petitioner's behavior shown in the video is consistent with her conduct outside the courtroom." The judge took a long breath, then faced Muriel again. "Miss Delacourt, stand." Muriel stood, wobbling slightly as if her shoes were suddenly too heavy. "I am revoking any consideration of long-term support," he said. She gasped. "Wait. No. Your Honor, please, I can explain." He held up a hand. "You represented to this court that you are incapacitated by anxiety, unable to hold employment, and financially helpless. The video shows you celebrating plans to deliberately secure a lifetime income from the respondent through deceptive claims." She shook her head rapidly. "It was a joke. It was just girl talk. I was not serious. They made me say that. I was venting. I was overwhelmed." The judge stared at her for a long moment. "Miss Delacourt, the only person you have successfully overwhelmed is yourself. You could have heard a pin drop." Kenton remained absolutely still beside me, but I saw the faint twitch of a satisfied smile at the corner of his mouth. The judge continued, "Permanent support is denied. Transitional support is denied. Temporary support is denied. You willingly chose to leave your employment 6 months before filing for divorce, which this court now believes was part of a premeditated strategy. Therefore, responsibility for your financial situation rests solely on you." Muriel's jaw fell open. No, I cannot survive like this. This is unfair. You do not understand my situation." The judge leaned forward slightly and asked, "Miss Delacourt, how much do you claim you spent each month before separation?" She sniffled. "Around 9,000. And how much of that was essential expense?" "Probably all of it," she mumbled. The judge's eyebrows rose in pure disbelief. "All of it? $9,000 in essential monthly expenses? On a household where the respondent paid the mortgage, covered utilities, bought groceries, and provided transportation?" She looked around desperately, pointing vaguely in different directions like she was trying to catch invisible help. Her lawyer finally spoke up, almost whispering, "Your Honor, perhaps we could request a recess to regroup." The judge shook his head. "No. This matter has been drawn out long enough." He placed his glasses on the desk and locked eyes with Muriel. "Your financial expectations seem based not on need, but entitlement. This court will not reward manipulation, self-inflicted unemployment, or deceit." Then, he signed the order. That was the moment everything fell apart for her. Her meltdown. As soon as the judge stood and left the bench, Muriel completely unraveled. She turned to her lawyer first. "You said we would win. You said he would pay. Why did you let them play that video? How did that even happen?" Her lawyer placed her folder inside her briefcase slowly, calmly. "I advised you not to fabricate symptoms. You chose a different path." Muriel stomped her foot like a child. "I will not accept this. I am appealing. I am not leaving without what I deserve." The lawyer gave her a long, tired stare. "You deserve consequences for lying to a judge." Then she walked away, leaving Muriel standing alone. I stayed seated because Kenton told me never to rise until he gave the signal. He liked to keep things clean and calm. Muriel turned to me. Her voice cracked as she said, "Please, Harold, please. You are not going to let them do this to me, right? You are not cruel. I know you still care. You cared for 10 years. You can help me, just until I get stable. Please." Her mascara was streaking, her lips trembling, her hands shaking. For a split second, the old version of me flickered. The man who once loved her. But that man had been dragged through mud. I shook my head. "You tried to turn my life into your paycheck." Her expression twisted, desperation snapping into bitterness. "You will regret this. You are heartless." Kenton finally touched my shoulder, the signal to stand and leave. We walked out while she continued ranting behind us, shouting to no one in particular that the judge was biased, the court system was broken, and that I had ruined her life. The hallway clerk actually closed her office door to tune her out. The fallout was even messier than the trial. Within days, the group of friends who appeared in the video turned on her. They were furious she got them dragged into a legal mess. They sent her angry messages, distancing themselves entirely. The woman who hosted the party even filed a complaint because Muriel had falsely told people that she leaked the video on purpose. Tobias, the man she cheated with, disappeared the moment he heard the verdict. The last message he sent her reportedly said something like, "I am not signing up for this kind of drama." Her family refused to let her move in because they believed she had embarrassed them. Her sister called the video the most foolish thing she ever saw someone brag about. She ended up renting a tiny apartment above a repair shop on the outskirts of town. People who knew her said she spent months complaining that the judge had ruined her life. She never once considered that she ruined her own. Meanwhile, I went back to therapy, work, and a life that felt lighter than anything I had experienced in years. Sometimes peace is not gaining anything. Sometimes peace is simply losing the person who was draining you. About 4 months after the final ruling, I thought the entire situation was over. I had rebuilt a routine, picked up new hobbies, and finally learned what a quiet house felt like. Then she showed up again. It started with a text. "Can we talk? Just 5 minutes. I promise it is important." I ignored it. 2 days later, I received a long voicemail. Her voice was shaky, almost whispering. She said she was struggling, that her bills were piling up, that she had made mistakes, and that she needed someone who understood her. She wrapped the whole message in nostalgia, bringing up old vacations, old inside jokes, old promises she claimed she still believed in. I deleted it. A week later, she sent a handwritten letter. The tone was different. Less emotional, more strategic. She said she wanted to revisit our connection, and rebuild trust, and explore reconciliation, because we had so much history. Translation: she wanted money again. Kenton told me exactly what to do. Do not respond, do not engage, do not open a door that no longer belongs to her, so I stayed silent. Eventually, she tried one final angle. She contacted my sister and told her that I was making a mistake by cutting her off, that she was ready to change and needed just a small bit of help until she stabilizes. My sister hung up on her. That was the moment it truly died. After that, nothing. No letters, no calls, no guilt trips. She finally realized I was not giving her a single path back into my life. And that was the end of it. Sometimes closure arrives quietly, not with a big speech, not with dramatic revenge, but with the simple realization that someone can no longer reach you.